Welcome back to Fireside, where we dive into the most captivating unsolved mysteries, riveting cold cases, and compelling stories that history has to offer. Tonight, we explore a chilling story that has puzzled investigators, captivated the public, and haunted the loved ones of Brandon Swanson since the night he disappeared in 2008. Despite extensive search efforts, numerous investigations, and widespread media coverage, Brandon's fate remains unknown, leaving a void in the hearts of his family and a lingering question mark over what really happened that night. On this episode, we aim to delve deep into the various facets of Brandon Swanson's disappearance, providing a comprehensive overview of the events leading up to and following his vanishing. We'll look into the subsequent search efforts and investigation, as well as the wide array of theories and speculations that have emerged over the years. So, grab your favorite drink, or something you might need a flame for, if that's your thing, and settle in for episode 76 on Fireside Unsolved, the Unsolved Disappearance of Brandon Swanson. Brandon Swanson was born on January 30th, 1989, to Brian and Annette Swanson in Marshall, Minnesota. He grew up in a tight-knit family, along with his sister, and was known for his friendly demeanor, intelligence, and ambition. As a young man, Brandon had a passion for renewable energy. So, after graduating from high school, he enrolled at Minnesota West Community and Technical College to pursue a degree in wind power. Brandon's interest in harnessing energy from wind turbines was not merely academic. He genuinely believed in the potential of renewable energy sources to make a positive impact on the environment. This passion drove him to excel in his studies, and he was well regarded by his peers and professors alike. Outside of his academic pursuits, Brandon enjoyed a typical social life for a 19-year-old who was born and raised in the state of Minnesota, spending time with friends enjoying the outdoors and exploring the rural landscapes of the state. On the evening of May 13, 2008, Brandon and his friends kicked off the night with celebration. It marked the official close of their first academic year at Minnesota West, and they intended to commemorate the occasion by attending parties in both Canby and Lind, Minnesota. Arriving at their first stop that evening in Canby around 8 o'clock, the atmosphere was lively, filled with the anticipation of the upcoming summer break. Later, around 10:30 p.m., Brandon and his friends shifted to the next party in Lind, Minnesota, where they continued to enjoy the festivities of the night. Witnesses from both gatherings attested to Brandon's cheerful demeanor throughout the night. Though he indulged in alcohol at both events, friends noted it was moderate, and he showed no obvious signs of intoxication. At midnight, Brandon made the decision to depart from the party in Lind with the intention of driving back to his parents' home in Marshall, Minnesota, where he resided during his freshman year of college. The journey, spanning 30 miles, or 48 kilometers, along predominantly rural roads, was estimated to take around 30 minutes. At approximately 1:15 a.m., Brandon's Chevrolet Lumina swerved off a gravel road, ending up lodged in a ditch. Despite Brandon's efforts to free the vehicle himself, he found himself unable to do so. Seeking aid, Brandon used his cell phone to dial his parents' number at 1:45 a.m. The call roused Brian and Annette Swanson from their slumber, with Brandon informing them of his predicament, but assuring them of his physical well-being. Brandon's parents immediately left their home in search of their son. Despite grappling with persistent patchy cell signal on both ends, Brandon continued relaying his surroundings to his parents. However, as the conversation progressed, the details Brandon was providing of his surroundings seemed incongruent with the known landmarks of the area. Despite attempts to signal each other by flashing their headlights and sounding their car horn, Brian and Annette continued scouring the area in a desperate bid to signal Brandon, but their efforts yielded no success. Finally acknowledging the futility of the situation, Brandon informed his parents of his decision to venture towards the distant lights he believed to be emanating from Lind, Minnesota, a small town roughly 7 miles, 11 kilometers southwest of Marshall, where his family home was. Following Brandon's instructions, his father headed to the parking lot of a local bar Brandon told him he would walk to, while maintaining the phone conversation. As he navigated his way towards the bar, Brandon described crossing a fence and hearing the sound of water, hinting at his proximity to a creek or river. At around 2:30 a.m., 47 minutes into the call, Brandon abruptly exclaimed, "Oh shit," before falling silent. Despite the Swansons' frantic attempts to reconnect, there was no response from Brandon's cell phone. In the ensuing hours, the Swansons scoured the vicinity, but neither Brandon nor his car could be located. Obviously concerned for their son's safety, they reported him missing to the Lind police at 6:30 a.m. Initially met with indifference, the Swansons were told that it was not uncommon for young men his age to stay out late after the culmination of college classes. This response left them bewildered and anxious. However, eventually a search was initiated by the Lynn police, but no trace of Brandon was unearthed within the town or its outskirts. Seeking further assistance in finding their son, the Swansons enlisted the support of neighboring Lyon County Sheriff Joel Dahl's office. To streamline the search efforts, the sheriff's office obtained Brandon's cell phone records, which pinpointed his location to the vicinity of Taunton, Minnesota, along State Highway 68. Subsequently, Brandon's car was discovered lodged in a ditch off a gravel road in Taunton, approximately 20 miles from his perceived location. County Sheriff Jack Vizecki informed the media that Brandon's Chevrolet Lumina had become stuck atop an incline at the road's edge, causing the wheels on one side to lose contact with the ground. Although the car remained largely undamaged, the lack of tracks in the grass and gravel surrounding it rendered it impossible to ascertain Brandon's initial direction of travel. Sheriff Joel Dahl of Lyon County pointed out that from the area where Brandon's car was found, a red light atop a grain elevator in Taunton was visible. He theorized that Brandon might have mistaken this light for a signal from Lind, leading him to believe that he was within walking distance of the town. To bolster ground efforts, aerial teams conducted flyovers, while search dogs, including teams from the Twin Cities and bloodhounds from Codington County, South Dakota, were deployed. The bloodhounds picked up a scent trail stretching 3 miles, approximately 5 kilometers, primarily following field roads west-northwest to an abandoned farm, and then along the Yellow Medicine River, where it appeared to lead into the stream. As the search expanded, authorities from Yellow Medicine County also joined the effort, recognizing that part of the search radius extended into their jurisdiction. Further investigation revealed that Brandon's cell phone call had been routed through a tower near Minneota, Minnesota, another town along Highway 68. By May 15th, authorities determined that the call had originated within a 5-mile radius of the tower's location, prompting search efforts to concentrate in that vicinity. A comprehensive search of the surrounding area ensued, encompassing fields, ditches, and waterways, yet yielded no trace of Brandon. The absence of any discernible footprints, personal effects, or other evidence complicated the search efforts, leaving search teams at a loss regarding Brandon's possible whereabouts. Responding to the possibility of Brandon's drowning, boats from the state's Department of Natural Resources scoured the river, and gates were installed as precautionary measures. Sheriff Dahl observed that while the water levels had receded from the morning of Brandon's disappearance, some areas in Lincoln County had previously been as deep as 10 feet. Deputies meticulously patrolled the riverbanks, while horses and all-terrain vehicles traversed the surrounding terrain. However, somewhat strangely, Sheriff Dahl deemed an extensive, organized ground search unnecessary. Despite the initial search yielding no breakthroughs, Sheriff Vizecki remained steadfast, personally walking the 2-mile stretch of the Yellow Medicine River daily for 30 days. Meanwhile, the Swanson family left their porch light shining each night as a symbol of their enduring hope for Brandon's safe return or discovery. Search efforts were reignited later in the year, following the harvest of fields planted shortly after Brandon's disappearance. Canine units continued to track scents of human remains, leading them to previously unsearched areas northwest of Porter. The search cycle persisted into the following spring, and this pattern endured for years, culminating in a total search area spanning 122 square miles, 320 kilometers. In 2010, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension assumed leadership of the investigation, signaling a renewed push for answers in Brandon Swanson's mysterious disappearance. The establishment of a tip line garnered a total of 90 leads by 2015, indicating ongoing public interest and concern. During this period, official search efforts redirected their focus towards Mud Creek, a tributary of the Yellow Medicine River situated north and northwest of Porter. Despite indications from one dog's trail leading to the Yellow Medicine River, Annette Swanson remains unconvinced that her son met his fate by drowning there. The trail extended across the river, along the opposite bank, to another gravel road, and ultimately terminated near the Yellow Medicine County line. Expressing skepticism regarding the drowning theory, Annette Swanson highlighted Brandon's lack of disorientation or confusion during their phone conversations, despite any alcohol he may have consumed earlier. While acknowledging the remote possibility of Brandon intentionally disappearing, both parents dismissed this notion, firmly believing their son would not choose such a course of action. Sheriff Vizecki, meanwhile, refrains from ruling out foul play, speculating on the potential involvement of an unseen assailant. Reflecting on the initial response from Lynn Police, Annette Swanson recalls the dismissive sentiment conveyed when she first reported her son missing. This dismissiveness underscores her conviction that something grave had indeed occurred. "I'm his mother, and I knew something was horribly wrong," she reflected, encapsulating the unwavering maternal instinct that has fueled the Swansons' relentless pursuit for answers. In response to the challenges they faced in reporting their son's disappearance, Annette and Brian Swanson embarked on a mission to enact legislative change. Their advocacy efforts culminated in a pivotal meeting between Annette and Marty Seifert, the minority leader of the State House of Representatives at the time. The meeting, held in a local restaurant, served as a platform for Annette to articulate the difficulties encountered when reporting Brandon missing. Despite acknowledging that the proposed legislation wouldn't impact their own case, Annette recognized its potential to safeguard future individuals in similar circumstances. Moved by Annette's advocacy, Seifert spearheaded the introduction of a bill known as Brandon's Law. This bill aimed to amend existing legislation governing the state's missing child program, broadening its scope to encompass missing adults by substituting the term child with person. However, the proposal faced initial resistance, particularly from within the law enforcement community. Concerns surrounding privacy, particularly in relation to cell phone tracking technology, emerged as a focal point of debate during the legislative process. Despite these hurdles, Dennis Frederickson introduced a companion bill in the state Senate, signaling bipartisan support for the initiative. Ultimately, after passing both chambers with overwhelming support, including a unanimous vote in the House, Governor Tim Pawlenty signed Brandon's Law into effect in May 2009. The significance of this legislative victory was underscored by the presence of the Swanson family, including their daughter Jameen, at the bill signing ceremony. Their tireless advocacy had not only secured justice for Brandon, but also established a framework to protect countless others in similar circumstances. The impact of Brandon's Law extended beyond mere procedural changes. It mandated that law enforcement agencies take immediate action upon receiving reports of missing individuals. Not only were they required to ascertain the missing person's status and potential risk factors, but they were also obligated to promptly notify neighboring law enforcement entities. Furthermore, the legislation clarified that the agency receiving the missing person report would serve as the lead investigator throughout the case. This provision aimed to streamline coordination among multiple jurisdictions, addressing challenges encountered during the later phases of Brandon Swanson's initial search. Importantly, Brandon's Law prohibited law enforcement from dismissing missing person reports based on subjective assessments or assumptions regarding the circumstances. Regardless of perceived criminality, time elapsed since the individual was last seen, or suspicions of intentional disappearance, authorities were mandated to take every report seriously. Since its enactment in July 2009, Brandon's Law has served as a model for similar legislation in 4 other states, reflecting its profound impact and life-saving potential. The disappearance of Brandon Swanson remains a haunting unsolved mystery, with its multitude of unanswered questions. Despite the efforts in the search for Brandon, the absence of closure serves as a tragic reminder of the depths of uncertainty that can occur with such a sudden and unexpected loss. As the years continue to pass, the echoes of Brandon's vanishing continue to echo through time and into the hearts of those who knew him. A testament to the power of unresolved mysteries to captivate and confound those of us left behind to grieve. Thank you for joining us. We'll keep your seat around the fire saved for you. Until next time, on Fireside Unsolved.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Fireside Unsolved. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to help the channel grow. Until next time, take it easy and be easy, you filthy bastards.